What's neat about our power plant is you will see a wide range of vintages as well as manufacturers. We've got an Enterprise, we've got a Caterpillar, we've got a Fairbanks Morris, we've got engines from the 1950s and 1960s and 1970s, and Unit 7 is a Caterpillar from 2007. So if you want to see the history of electric generation, this is the place to be.
Right down the street.
Right here, yeah. And it's a
Cool.
gorgeous plant. I really enjoy being a part of it. The engines are all diesel generators. They range in anywhere from 1 or 2 kW to Unit 7, which I think is 5 or 6 kW. In total, we have 12 megawatts of generation. That's 12,000 kW. That doesn't, in the last few years, we've exceeded that peak. I think a year or two ago, we hit 14 megs. So if we experience an outage on the worst hour of the year, we would have to generate and probably still do a rolling blackout if we ran into some major incident. Beyond that, if you look at the other 98% of the year, we can cover whatever the town needs. It does raise some questions about, okay, what does the future hold? There's a lot of questions within our industry regarding renewables and climate change and reliability and affordability, and there's a lot of, it's a very complicated and difficult problem with a lot of smart people working on it. We're continuing to, make sure that we're fulfilling our obligation to our customers and fitting in with the overall societal goals for where our energy comes from.
As the city grows too, as Princeton grows, how does that affect you guys in the supply of energy?
From a supply perspective, we're a part of SIMPA, which was mentioned earlier, Southern Minnesota Municipal Power Agency. So they do all of the long-term resource planning for their members, of which we're a part. So from a supply side perspective, it's really, that's not where my concerns are at. We focus more on the distribution. So it would be making sure that we've got our feeder lines structured in a way so we create a balance. It's really, electricity is pretty complicated in that it's not just, there's a lot more to it than just providing electricity. You want to make sure it's at the right frequency. You want to make sure that you have it at the right voltage. And with electricity, depending upon how you wire things, you just got to be careful of how all of that works.
When you say feeder lines, are those that carry more energy than a regular line, or do you have multiple?
So a feeder line, that's part of our what we call our primary system. It's like a water main. You would have, just like on the water side, we have a water main that might go down the street and then everybody taps off of the water main for their individual house. Well, we just call it a feeder line on the electric side. We'll have a main feeder, and then that's what each house taps into or each business taps into. Got it. So it's your mains, if you want to think of it from that perspective. And we've got a few of those through town, just spider webbed out to serve everybody.
Could you relate to how much energy is running through those main lines, like a comparison? Like, how could you explain to somebody how much electricity is going through that?
Oh, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head for something like that.
If you were to guess. This is a rough estimate, everybody, all right? Don't hold them to it.
Well, like I mentioned before, we hit a peak of 14 megawatts.
What would that be, like, compared to?
That's for like a community of about 5,000 people.
Wow,
there we go.
What a coincidence.
I don't mean to be so flippant, but
no, that's fine.
For a community of our size, that's about what you see. So if you think of every house with every appliance, every light bulb, plus some industry, whether it's manufacturing like plastic products or Glen Metalcraft, or a hospital and a full school district and public works and fire and police, and that's about really the best scale I can give you, because normally when you talk about that stuff, you say so many households, or
Right.
And for a community of 5,000 to have a peak around 12 to 14 megawatts is pretty standard, I would say.
Okay.
There are some communities that are very heavily industrial that might be higher than that. And then there are some bedroom communities that have no commercial enterprises. They're really more, just housing for a major metropolitan area that might be less than that.
Got it.